Okay, now we're going to work on the Geneva Cam Assembly. So we're going to start a new English standard assembly file. And we want to bring in our base. And place it. And you definitely want to place grounded at origin. It did two of them again to me. Anyway, okay, so if you were, when you created this from the AutoCAD drawing, uh, if you did it on the XY axis plane so that you're looking like this now, you need to go back and edit that sketch to redefine it to get it so that it lays flat so that that is your top view, or else your assembly is going to be all wonky. Okay, so this is what we need to have. I need to check that. I may not have made that that tall enough. It just looks kind of short. Um, yeah, I'm going to fix that right here, and I will edit the note. I did it 6.25 from the bottom. So that should be 1 inch tall. Okay, that's how it should look. I'll edit the AutoCAD note, so you may or may not see that. Okay, so that's how it should look right there. Okay, so we got that first part in. Return. I am grounded. Now I want to bring in the actual Geneva Cam, or the wheel, and I'm going to drop it right here. Okay. Now to put these two together, we're going to use a joint. And don't know if you've done this yet or not, but we're going to use a joint command. Okay. And so if you want, hover over it, press the F1 to read more about joints. But it's a way of assembling things with multiple constraints at one time. So if you hit here, you're going to see your different choices. If you know what you're doing, then you can choose the one that you want. But we're going to start with automatic. Okay, and I want to kind of zoom around. I want to get to the back side of my wheel and choose that arc. Okay, and now I want to go to my base, and on the top surface choose that arc. Okay, and so it tells me it's going to use a rotational constraint. And you need to kind of look at it. If it's flipped up or down or something like that, then you can change directions here. Okay, but it should be okay if you chose those surfaces. And so we'll say okay. All right, and so now it's there. I can wheel it around if we want. Let's check our degrees of freedom, and it shows me rotational is all that it has. Okay, now we want to bring in the driver. And I'm going to drop it right there. And I'm going to do the same thing, a rotational joint into this hole. Okay, so I'm going to go joint, automatic. I'm going to choose that circle and that circle. Rotational. Come back here and look at it. Looks good. It's not recessed down. It's not sitting down inside there, so that's good. All right, and now I can spin that around. Okay. All right, so now don't worry, we're going to get to fixing all of this stuff, okay? Now we want to put in the pin. Checking my notes, just a minute. All right, so let's bring the pin. going to drop it right here. And we're going to insert it in the hole, but we're going to use a rigid joint because we don't want it to rotate and spin and such as that. Okay. So let's come down. Let's try it with the cylinder and the hole. That's kind of backwards. So let's flip that. That looks better. Okay. We don't need a gap in it. I'm guessing that looks okay. So let's take a look at our degrees of freedom for that. We got a little block, so that's rigid. It's not going anywhere. Let's check our wireframe view. It is down too low though. We see that, so we've got to edit that. So let's come here and oh, I know what it did. It chose the center points of the holes when it did that. So let's just delete it so we can pull it up. Over here to the side. Now let's go back again. And let's go with the center point face of that circle. And that one. That looks much better. Okay. Since we're here, let's check everything else. Okay, I'm not seeing any interference with things. So I can go back to my shaded view. Okay, so that's got all our parts assembled, and these things can spin and they just kind of roll through each other there. So what we want to do is kind of reposition the things so that they're kind of close to matching up. Okay, so we kind of rotated those things around a little bit. Let's come over here in our browser tree over here and expand the driver so that you've got the rotational constraint. And let's right click and let's go to drive. All right, and you're going to have some based on where you've got it pulled to. Uh, and so we'll, okay, and so it kind of moves back and forth. That's kind of what we want it to do. Just for jollies, let's turn this on. Boom. Of course it collides. We know it does. Okay. I mean, that's obvious, but it is a tool there that you can use. All right, so we know we've got that kind of working right. Okay, had to check my notes there for a minute. All right, so we're going to use a tool called the contact solver to make this thing work, okay, and move around. So on the inspect tab, we want to come over here and we want to click on the activate contact solver. All right, so we want to click that button so it's highlighted. And then we want to come over here in our browser tree and on the wheel, right click the wheel and choose contact set. And notice it had this little icon right here. And we want to do the same thing to the pin. So it's got the little icon there. And now we'll go back to the driver, the rotational constraint, and we're going to drive it. All right, so let's just punch it and watch. Oh, see, it moved. That was cool. All right, so now let's change this to 0 degrees and 360, and let's play that. And you can see it moved around. We can turn that off. We don't need that anymore. So let's run it. Oh, that's looking good. Now let's say 5 rotations. So that's looking kind of good there, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to stop that. Pause it. Uh, we can play with it with our speed here a little bit. Speed things up a little bit. That's looking a little better. Okay. And so now, after you've got all this done and working, you're going to record a video of the 5 rotations. You can do it at 2 speed or 3 and see how 3 looks. That'll make for a quicker video. It may be a little choppy. We'll see how that goes. Okay, but you're gonna record a video here of the contact solver and this whole thing moving. Okay, and just for jollies, you can, as long as this contact set right here is turned on, you can move that stuff around. Okay. All right, and so that is that. You will submit uh, your pack and go of these parts. You're also going to include dimensioned drawings, detailed drawings of all of your parts, uh, and other things. It'll be listed there in Blackboard as to what you're going to submit. But you're going to do a pack and go, parts, assembly, drawings, and then of course your video of the contact solver working.